We've talked so far about the Tlahuiztlampa and the Mictlampa. Now it's time for the Tlahuiztlampa, the place of light and wisdom. As a brief reminder, pre-Hispanic cultures divided the space into 4 directions or more, with the most important ones based on the cardinal points. Specifically among several Nahua groups, the directions were named as follows: Mictlampa to the north, the place of the rest or death; Tlahuiztlampa to the west, where the sun sets, the place for women who die in childbirth; Huiztlampa to the south, which we'll cover in another video later on; and the other one, Tlahuiztlampa, the place of light. When we speak about this direction located to the east, it makes perfect sense. Due to Earth's rotation, the sun always appears to rise in that direction. Of course, the sun doesn't actually rise, it just appears to due to the Earth's rotation. That's why the Nahuatl word Tlahuiz means light, and Tlampa means place. Thus, Tlahuiztlampa is the place of the light, specifically the light of dawn. Light is also often linked to the concept of wisdom. However, the idea of duality was deeply rooted in these cultures. So, when speaking of direction, we must also think in terms of duality. To understand Tlahuiztlampa, we must compare it to its counterpart, Tlahuiztlampa. If the western direction was feminine, since that's where women who die in childbirth, when childbirth was seen as a battle, then Tlahuiztlampa represented the masculine side. In this context, men who die in war journeyed to this direction. These fallen warriors would accompany the sun in various forms, as birds, butterflies, etc., until it reached night day. So, on one side we have the feminine, and on the other the masculine. More developed cultures also assign colors to each direction. In the case of the Mexica Aztecs, this direction was usually white, while some Mayan groups used red, likely referring to red maize. This red is also linked to the Nahuatl concept in Tlidi in Tlapali, which means black and red ink. Tlapali was one of the words for the color red. This concept speaks of wisdom, which was passed down through generations. Its most physical form was through the colors used in codices amongstly. That's why the East is also called the place of black and red ink. Visually, this makes sense. Before dawn, there is the darkness of night, which gradually gives way to red hues that signal the sun's arrival until we finally see it. But we're not just talking about written wisdom. It also exists in the ruler of this direction, none other than Quetzalcoatl, the precious wisdom, who presides over this direction. There are various possible explanations for why he is linked to the east. One version says that when he left these lands, he went toward this direction, heading over the sea, promising to return, just as the sun always does. This ties into the idea that Quetzalcoatl gifted humanity with black and red ink, wisdom itself. Another version says that when he departed through the east, he immolated himself in fire, and in doing so, transformed into Tlahuiztlampa, the morning star, which is none other than the planet Venus. Here we see another connection with the west. Because of planetary rotation around the sun, Venus sometimes appears in the east, other times in the west. To pre-Hispanic peoples, this means Venus had a twin, in the east as Tlahuiztlampa and in the west as Xolotl. So, we had Quetzalcoatl's transformation. He rose into the sky in the east to become Tlahuiztlampa, and when see in the west, Venus was his twin, Xolotl. Lastly, as we've mentioned in other videos, a key concept in this culture was the number 20. Many representations of these 20 symbols still survive today. The most famous one is in the Circle of the Days in the so-called Aztec calendar, where each cardinal direction had 5 of the 20 days signs assigned to it. The signs assigned to the east can be seen in a lamina of the so-called Codex Feyerabadi Major. The 5 signs of Tlahuiztlampa are Zipactli, crocodile; Acatl, reed; Coatl, serpent; Olin, movement; Atl, water. And speaking of water, some believe that Tlalocan, the realm of the rain god Tlaloc, was also located in the east. In conclusion, the sun's movement through Tlahuiztlampa over 365 days mark the passage of time, the seasons of drought and rain, and the times for planting and harvesting. From all of these came their myths, beliefs, ceremonies, and traditions. And now you had a brief explanation of everything tied to the direction of light. Tlahuiztlampa.